Okay, we are back. Still have the fruit complex #1 on. That is just such an extraordinary formula. This one here, let me show it to you. This is what's been on the skin for a few minutes, and we're using it to shrink the pores. We've extracted the skin, and now it just is a fantastic formula, this one. I love this so much. It's, as I said, we're dealing with a rosacea skin, but also I'm able to use that formula on him, which is really wonderful. Now this is cool water sponges. We're just taking it off here now, just lightly removing the fruit complex #1 off the skin. It does leave the skin, you know, when you put it on it, you feel a little bit of tingling with it. But again, we're not building heat here. And you can notice we're dealing with a skin that says rosacea. I've also done extractions, so the nose is a little pink. I've done some extractions up high here around either side of the nose, but we still are a really nice color here, not too much heat, not anything too much going on. So now after I've removed that, I always put healing gel back on the skin, and this is what I'm going to put on the skin before we do our cryo sticks. Okay, so the next step is now healing gel is on. Now I'm going to do some cryo. I'm choosing to use the silver ones today, my silver cryo. So we're going to very lightly go over the skin here, for the cryo sticks. I love cryo. It's something that your clients can be using at home on an evening basis or in the morning, whenever they would like, but they do need something on the skin. So I do recommend the healing gel is a great base, especially if they have rosacea or acne. That's really nice. For someone who doesn't have acne or is a dry skin type, they can use the cryo with a cleanser in the beginning if they like. There's different times you can use cryo, but I particularly like it either with a serum or a healing gel on the skin. It's just really nice. So it's great for reducing inflammation in the skin. Okay, so we just want to do that for a little bit, just to calm the skin down after the alpha hydroxy acid. All right. Okay, the next thing that's going on the skin is going to be the mask. The mask that I'm choosing to use is the herbal mask, and it's one that's designed for sensitive skin. I love the herbal mask. I'm going to be mixing that with the healing gel, mixing them together, and then that is going to be going on the skin. Now you can put a mask on with a brush if you have a very soft brush. I like to use my hands with as much as I can. And I also often don't have time for cleaning of brushes and things because they have to be cleaned correctly. And of course, and you know, that requires being put into a sterilizing the light as well to kill off germs after you've washed them. And so with your hands, it requires hand washing, and I'm much easier for time to use my hands and disposable items as much as I can. That's what I choose to do in my business. It's important to do always what makes sense to you. Nothing, using a brush, using fingers, none of it is wrong, or it's all right as long as you are being clean. Hygiene's important. Washing your hands frequently. If you're choosing to use gloves, make sure you change those gloves on a frequent basis, and that's what's really important. So now what we're going to do, we're going to leave the mask on for a few minutes. I'm not going to leave it on a long time. I don't need to leave it on a long time. And that's the thing about a mask is, you know, a lot of the time, you know, it might say on a container, leave it for 10 to 15 minutes, but being this mask, that the herbal mask is a clay mask, that means that it is going to dry tight. And on somebody that's already has the condition of surface dryness, you definitely do not want to be letting the mask dry tight. So basically, I'm just going to leave it on a few minutes, and while this is on, I'm going to show you how what I usually do in treating this area. So once I've got a mask on, I'm going to then go back and get some of my eye gel or eye cream, but for my model today, it is going to be the eye gel. And then I'm going to just put this around the perimeter of the eye, this orbital area, because this then, by adding a cream, does not allow it to set tight around this eye area. And sometimes, if you know, when you put a mask in an area, you don't always put it that thick around the eye, and it's an area that will dry quickly. The mask will dry quickly, and you don't particularly want it to dry quickly around the eyes, because then you've got to get it off, and that requires rubbing, and the eye area itself is a thinner skin, so you do not want to be rubbing it too much. You've got to be very careful, and you've got to really be mindful of this. So that's something that I do before I go to put on my eye pads. Now with my eye pads, I've got 2 cotton rounds. I get a hot towel out of my hot cabbie, and 1 hot towel, and I'll wrap my cotton inside there. So it's just, this is a barely damp towel, right? It's a damp towel, but I have my cotton, I'm just warming it up in there. I don't want it to be too hot, but I also want it to be warm and soothing. So I just wrap it in a warm towel for a little bit, or you can keep them in your hot cabbie in a towel. That's another way of doing it. And then you've got 2 warmer pads, which is barely sort of damp. I stretch them, and now I've got a slightly longer pad that I can place over the eyes. So again, stretch your pad, and then you can place it just over the eyes. And then it's barely damp, but it's comfortable. And then while this is on, I will then usually go do a foot massage or a hand massage, depending on how long I'm going to leave it on the skin. Now, if you're just seeing this video for the first time, and this video has been maybe posted on YouTube, to go ahead and see the full treatment that we have done today, you will need to go to my Instagram and subscribe to my subscription there. This is something that we have started this subscription talking all about skin analysis. Skin analysis is really important in helping you design what it is you're going to be doing on your client, because you need to know what you're looking at. So skin analysis is a really important part to your treatment, especially if you're an esthetician. But if you're also not an esthetician and you're just wanting to learn about skin, you need to be able to understand there are 4 skin types. That is oily, blackheads all over the face, oily combination, oily T-zone, dry combination, which means just oil around the nose and the chin, and then a dry skin, which is no blackheads anywhere. So you've only got 4 skin types. The next thing that's most important that people don't really think about is all your subconditions, and that's where people get confused. So in other words, the model that I've worked on here today is skin type combination oily, meaning he has an oily T-zone, but his subconditions are vast. And what they are is he has rosacea, he has a little bit of eczema on his forehead, being an athlete, playing hockey, wearing a helmet for many years, most days of the week. He also has surface dryness, which is a huge problem. He's got slightly larger pores around the nose, a little bit of pitting in those pores where we've really extracted and put an AHA on to help shrink those. He also has a little bit of cuprose around the sides of the nose, and which is dilated blood vessels there, and again the rosacea, a little bit of eczema on the forehead that we said, surface dryness, a little bit of pigmented areas up here by the eye where the sun is catching him, so it's slightly blotchy, but skin a little bit thickened. I know his, in his mid-30s, his skin really is really very pretty, considering he has these subconditions, and he's really sort of been maintaining the rosacea and doing the best with that. So that's what we're looking at. But if you are wanting to learn about more in depth about things, it's important to go on and subscribe to the Instagram, my Instagram. Hit the subscription button, and that way you'll get to see and learn a lot more as these videos are being done for my subscription followers. So that being said, I'm going to take his mask off now. I don't want it to dry tight because he does have a little bit of surface dryness. I'm going to have him, I'm going to turn the video back on, and you'll be able to see his skin and how his skin looks afterwards, which will be fantastic. So I'm super excited to see. So turning it off now, and we'll be back with the last video.